A lot of people look at this and say, isn't that just a smaller B-2? Nope. This is the B-21 Raider, the sixth-generation stealth bomber. Earned a U.S. Air Force Code 1 status. The first operational aircraft is expected to arrive at Ellsworth Air Force Base in 2027. At least 145 bombers. So today we are going to break down the B-21 from 6 angles: stealth, engines, weapons, electronic warfare, maintenance, and scale, to see what makes B-21 a generational leap. Let's start with the first thing everyone cares about: stealth. The B-2 radar signature has been described as insect level. But B-21 is not trying to be a little stealthier. Its real goal is bigger, because today, stealth aircraft are not hunted by one radar. They are hunted by an entire network. VHF and UHF early, warning radars, multi-static radar networks, IRST systems, infrared search and track, satellites and high-altitude surveillance platforms. So B-21 is not built to beat a radar. It is built to beat the grid. That is the real generational gap. Now, visually, you can see it. The B-21 intakes are lower, tighter, cleaner, almost buried into the wing. Because if radar energy ever sees compressor blades, the game is over. The B-21 also shrinks the entire airframe. Its wingspan is estimated around 132 feet, roughly 40 feet shorter than the B-2, and that matters. Less surface area, less radar return, less coating to maintain, less weight to carry, and less infrastructure required to operate. B-21 is stealth designed for tempo. Even the trailing edge tells you that story. B-2 has those sharp notches. B-21 has a cleaner, straighter edge, and every corner, every break in the surface creates radar scatter. The B-21 looks like it was sculpted to be invisible. But stealth is not just radar anymore. Another enemy is heat. And that takes us to the second major leap: the engine. According to Aviation Week, the B-21 is believed to use a Pratt & Whitney PW9000 class engine, derived from the PW1000G family, the commercial engine line used on the Airbus A320neo, but modified for bomber duty. 2 engines. Thrust, roughly 54,000 pounds total. The B-2 runs 4 GE F118 engines. Total thrust around 69,000 pounds. So yes, B-2 has more raw thrust, but B-21 does almost the same mission because it is efficiency. It is bypass ratio. The B-2 bypass ratio is low, around 0.3 to 1. That is a hot exhaust torch. The B-21 is run around 4 to 1. That means cooler exhaust. Lower heat signature, harder to track with IRST. A fighter engine is aflame. IRST sees it instantly. A higher bypass engine spreads the heat out. It reduces the plume. And B-21 goes one step further. The engines are buried deep inside the airframe. The exhaust is shielded by the upper fuselage. So from an infrared perspective, you are looking at a faint distortion, not a bright target. The B-2 was stealth. The B-21 is stealth plus thermal suppression. And that is where things get scary. But stealth is only step 1, and this is where the B-21 stops being an aircraft and becomes a strategy. Weapons. The B-21 is built around one brutal idea. It does not need to fly into the air defense bubble. It can sit outside it and still kill you. Its nuclear centerpiece is LRSO, the Long-Range Standoff Missile, the next-generation air-launched nuclear cruise missile, and that changes everything. It launches the weapon and lets the missile do the dirty work. That is survivable deterrence. Then you have got gravity bombs, B-6112 and B-6113. These exist for controlled escalation, more flexible options in a nuclear standoff. And for conventional strike, JASSM-OR and JASSM-X are stealth cruise missiles designed to hit targets from over 1,000 kilometers away. Could B-21 carry the mop? The GBU-57 Massive Ordnance Penetrator, a 30,000-pound bunker buster. B-21 payload is widely estimated around 30,000 pounds, so on paper, it is possible. Now compare that to B-2. B-2 can carry nuclear gravity bombs, but that often means flying deeper. B-2 conventional strike missions still required pushing closer into defended airspace. B-21 is built for standoff warfare. That is the real shift. And there is another detail most people overlook. The cockpit, B-2 needs 2 pilots. B-21 is built around fewer crew and higher automation because modern bomber pilots are not just flying anymore. They are managing sensors, managing targeting, managing data, making decisions. Because the next leap in power is not bombs, it is what comes next. Electronic warfare. This is where the B-21 becomes truly dangerous. The most lethal thing about B-21 is not its payload. It is the digital nervous system inside the aircraft. Many analysts believe B-21 EDU architecture may share lineage with the F-35 ASQ-239 system, meaning it could function as an airborne electronic warfare node, a lock picker for integrated air defense systems, a command platform for unmanned systems, and a data fusion hub inside the JDC-2 network. The B-21 does not just bomb targets. It helps the entire U.S. kill chain see, decide, and strike faster. Northrop's phrase for it is simple: more than a bomber. Now let's talk about the part nobody talks about. Maintenance, sortie rate, because this is where B-2 got crippled. The B-2 had a nickname, Hangar Queen, because it basically lived in climate-controlled shelters. If you left it outside too long, the stealth coating could degrade, and the cost was brutal. B-2 required around 60 hours of maintenance per F-light hour, and cost per F-light hour. Some estimates put it between $110,000 and $150,000. That is not sustainable war tempo. But B-21 was designed with a completely different mindset. Northrop calls it a daily flyer, and they claim most test sorties have returned in Code 1 condition, meaning no major issues, no major fixes, ready to fly again. The stealth bombers just stopped being rare assets. They became repeatable pressure. And now we hit the final factor. Scale. B-2 cost around $2.4 billion per aircraft. Only 21 were built. B-21 is estimated around $1 billion per aircraft, and the Air Force wants at least 145. That is a doctrine shift, because when stealth exists in mass, it stops being a special mission aircraft. It becomes constant penetration, constant threat, constant pressure on enemy air defense networks. That is not a strike. That is strategic suffocation. Range estimates put the B-21 somewhere around 8,300 to 12,000 kilometers without refueling. Cruise speed is expected around Mach 0.95, similar to the B-2, and backed by America's tanker fleet. The B-21 becomes global reach, global strike, a bomber built to make any target on Earth feel exposed. So here is the real question. If stealth, mass production, and high sortie rate all become real, how does any traditional air defense system survive? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Like, subscribe. This is World Really Works. See you next time.